So on to bigger than Mercury and the Moon, of course, is Mars. But Mars is still significantly smaller than the Earth. You can see it's kind of comparing its radius and its mass. It actually, though, has a thin layer of carbon dioxide in its atmosphere right now. So there's not a lot of blanketing by that thin layer of carbon dioxide. So let's see. Mars has a tilted axis of rotation that you can kind of see here as it orbits the Earth. Sorry, as Mars orbits the Sun. But like this slide says, its orbit is a little bit more eccentric compared to the Earth's. And so actually that means that they're at perihelion, what you see here. It's a little bit more exaggerated than Earth's perihelion. So at perihelion, notice that the southern hemisphere's summer is a little more exaggerated than the northern hemisphere's summer, half a year away at aphelion. But it does have a tilted axis of rotation, which gives it seasons. Kind of seasonally too, can you see kind of these white regions on the top and the North Pole and the South Pole of the planet? This actually is not water solid. This is carbon dioxide. It's so cold that actually that carbon dioxide is not a gas. It's a solid, like dry ice. And so these do form and retreat based upon seasons. But another thing seasonally that happens on Mars are dust storms. So can you kind of see from left to right? We can see surface features here when there's no dust storm in June of 01. September of 01, notice we have a raging dust storm covering the planet. So looking at kind of the topography or the surface of the planet Mars, which reminds me, Mars has been described, I heard recently, as kind of a traffic jam sort of place for scientists and just Earthlings too. Well, Earthlings aren't there, but we are sending satellites and rovers to the planet. So this is taken by one of the many satellites that orbit Mars, and actually kind of this meandering is just one indication of the surface being eroded by flowing water. So notice we see some craters on Mars, but definitely not as many craters on Mars as there is that we see on the planet Mercury or the Moon, our Moon. So the fact that there are fewer craters really suggests that it's definitely had some resurfacing going on. So when I said, is it geologically active, from what I could tell, the astrophysicists are still kind of, or planetary scientists are just, not quite sure about that. But it was in the past for sure. So here actually is, I guess it's coming up in a minute. So this is kind of a flattened out view of Mars, and you can see some key locations. Notice that there are various landing sites, okay, Phoenix landing site, Pathfinder, Viking 1, Viking 2, okay. Everybody's favorite, Opportunity and Spirit, went up about the same time. Spirit actually got stuck, if I'm remembering this right, and is no longer roving. Opportunity is still roving, sending us pictures. Not shown here, but I bet it would be on the updated slide, is Curiosity. Curiosity is roving around there now. And a couple of features, actually, I'm going to kind of highlight. Over here is a surface feature. It's a giant, what we call caldera, which looks like a volcano. It's basically a volcano that has its top taken off of it. It's what I think of it. There are caldera here on Earth, kind of worn down volcanoes. This thing is humongous. Okay, I think, did I read about the size of the state of Missouri? Okay. Then we have another feature. I call it the boo-boo at the equator. Okay, so Mars has kind of a crack, and we think that this crack came from past tectonic movement. And so this crack kind of looks like Earth's Grand Canyon, but to kind of put it in perspective, it would go from coast to coast. That's how long it is. So that is actually called, this is called Olympus Mons, the caldera. Olympus Mons. And this down here is called Valles Marineris. So, Marineris. So if you were asked, I misspelled that, but you get the idea. If you were asked what planet these features are on, hopefully you will say Mars. So, yep, a couple of rovers, Spirit and Opportunity, been doing some great work out there. Again, Spirit is no longer active, but Opportunity, I believe, is. So these are some images that Opportunity sent back to us, and kind of a close-up, kind of from left to right. And if you know what you're looking at, actually, this is an indication of liquid water within the rocks. So, again, liquid water, actually kind of looking down here at this figure, okay, this is like a kind of the fanning out of liquid water eroding that location. So up here at the top, it's showing you where is the liquid water today, or sorry, where's the water today? And actually water on Mars, because of Mars' current temperature and pressure, or the atmosphere, water actually is just tied up in its solid state, kind of underground. Okay, but actually there's been, I don't know if this is controversial or not, but with all of the current study of Mars, I believe there is a thought that they have seen some kind of evidence that there has been recent running water.